for joining us. We are here at the Norris Theater to bring you a little behind the scenes that will surely get you in the holiday spirit. Well, there would be no Christmas season without a Christmas Carol. We're here at the Norris, and we're going to be talking to two of the actors who are actually in the show. Now, Richard, you have actually played Scrooge before, is that right?
Several times, yeah.
Okay.
And but we didn't do it in this particular production. This is a very unique situation that we have doing this, because this was the big hit at Madison Square Garden for a generation in New York, and I think one of the few companies to actually put it up on its feet here.
Okay.
And so...
Now, you talk about a different version. How is this different from the other version?
The other version was the straight play.
Okay.
So, which has infinitely more lines and absolutely no songs.
Okay.
This is the Norris Theater, and this is actually my second trip doing Christmas Carol to the Norris. We did it back in 1989.
Wow.
Another musical version, but still different than this. And with Bob Mandan, I don't know if you're from Soap, playing Scrooge, and I was the world's scrawniest Christmas present.
Okay.
Yeah.
well, no longer. You're not the scrawny present this time.
No, I'm not. So anyway.
Okay, and Jason, for you, is this the first time that you've ever been in the show before?
This version, yes, but I played several characters in another version of A Christmas Carol, an original musical production in Arizona.
Let's talk about that for a second, because these are characters that people relate to. They've known them for years and years and years, and now you're sort of bringing them to life. What are you adding from your own repertoire of work that is different, do you think, to the character?
In this show, I'm playing Bob Cratchit, so I am a father, and I have not played a father before, so that adds elements of emotion and care, and of course Tiny Tim, the most famous character.
So have you rented some children just to help you out with the character?
You know, the Norris has been very friendly in letting me rent some of their children that they keep in this bin back there.
It is leased, right? Yeah, of course.
You lease a child for a week. It's easy.
Yeah, it's in the prop department. I mean, we have these things, so
it's in the budget. Yes,
it's definitely in the budget. And then how about for you playing Scrooge? I mean, one of the most infamous characters ever.
Well, it depends. Those that have seen me in a really rotten mood would say I actually have to lighten up to play Scrooge. So no, there's some. Every time you do a role that is this mythological, you bring a whole different new series of challenges. It imposes them on you. You have other things to bring. Now that I used to, for all my life, I played a lot of old man roles. Even when I was 15 in high school, they would go, we'll get the old man, let's get him. And now that I've actually kind of caught up with myself, there's different things that I can bring in there, which I'm starting to discover during each rehearsal. So there's some of those are easy to define, I guess, but most of them right now are kind of emerging, and for me it's a very discovery-oriented process at this point.
It must be for both of you, because every time you sort of watch the story being told, I think that we're all riveted to watch it. I don't care who's playing who. You'll be flipping through the channels, or you'll see it at a place like the Norris Theater, and all of a sudden all of these thoughts kind of go through your mind about the story itself.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's because there are so many characters and playing fun times, sad times. I'm out of money, my wife has died, or I found a turkey, or stuff like that. It's very relatable, but it's also you want to feel it. You're going to, or you hope that you will. You hope that you're taken to that place, and you can't wait for that moment to happen.
And when was the first time you ever saw this show? I mean, do you remember how old you were?
I remember exactly how old I was, and it was I think it was a Playhouse 90.
Okay.
An old black and white anthology theater for TV. I think it was George Coulouris, the old actor from the Orson Welles group. But I remember seeing it in black and white, and I was just a tiny little guy, the impact. I can still remember my first experience with Christmas Carol to this day. I can almost retrace entire blocking from of the actors and the intonations and everything. It really did have a very early impact on me.
It's so touching, and I think with the whole holiday season, we all have movies and shows that we love to watch, and this is definitely one of them. Any other favorite ones that you guys like to watch throughout the holidays? Be honest.
Well, I'm a big Jim Carrey fan, so Jim Carrey just did A Christmas Carol, which was fun to see that version of it, but also he did The Grinch, which is another very famous Scrooge-like character.
Sure, of course.
And I just love seeing that transformation. Obviously, the cartoon Grinch is a classic that we would watch probably every Christmas, and then A Christmas Story, with the "you'll shoot your eye out." That was big, and the punching, and we loved that movie as well.
For me, it was always, the Snoopy with the little Charlie Brown Christmas tree, so how about for you?
Well, The Grinch, of course, Alistair Sim, who was obviously the benchmark of Scrooges, followed in very closely by Mr. Magoo. The Mr. Magoo Christmas Carol was probably the first great musical Christmas Carol. Of course, It's a Wonderful Life is the one that's the standard, and thank God it went into the public domain, so we can watch it 50 times a day.
As much as we want.
As much as we want. Mostly those, but those two Christmas carols, and maybe what was the one with Ralph Richardson? I can't think of what the other.
He's going way back now.
I'm going way back. Something with Gielgud Richardson, a bunch of old English actors, and I can't place the name of it.
Speaking of going back, you did a play here 20 years ago, and and now you're back. What is different about the Norris Theater now, or what is the same for you?
The Norris still seems to have its, it's a beautiful little theater, and it was a little odd because I remember going to a little store over in the mall area back when I think it was Mrs. Fields Cookies or something like that. And I went over there this was 20 years ago, and then I went over there a couple of months ago during the audition for this, and I walked around. I said, "Is there a Mrs. Fields Cookies here?" And then somebody that was actually grown up told me, "No, there hasn't been one since I've been alive." And so that felt funny. That felt almost like a Twilight Zone moment.
Of course.
But it's Palos Verdes has grown considerably. It has a very, very vibrant cultural life that's emerging in this area, which I'm rather thrilled about. Then it was kind of a, pioneer sort of thing, and now we're part of the groove, I think.
Is it kind of like coming home when you come back to a theater that you've worked in before?
You never do forget a theater that you work in. I still go back to the little Chapman College theater where I did the first Shakespeare festival I ever did. I can remember. You always remember the theater, and if as you walk through the door, all you have to do is see one familiar thing that hasn't changed, and the entire experience comes wafting in on you, and it's overpowering stuff. So it's going to be an emotional reunion with me here at the Norris in Palos Verdes.
Jason, you have been in shows here before, is that right?
Yeah, this will be my fourth experience here at the Norris.
Okay.
So it's almost like a family, a group of people here. Worked with several of the actors before. It's a lot of fun, yeah.
You're working with some younger people as well, some younger kids. What is that like?
Well, here at the Norris they have a learning center, an educational program that is... it's unbelievable. The kids are so talented. All of their actions, their singing, their dancing, they listen.
Well, they're very committed, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, they have their book, they're making their notes, with the exception of some who just...
Well, that's part of being a kid, that's okay.
Hair, and that's fine. And then they get... they get sent to that bin where we lease the kids from. That's what happens. I mean, it's full circle when the kids are bad.